The fields beneath Eger are covered with the dead. More than 30 to 40,000 Ottoman soldiers lie below the walls of a single fortress. Their banners are trampled into the mud. Their siege towers are burning wrecks. Above them, on shattered ramparts, stand barely 2,000 defenders. Nobles and peasants, veteran soldiers and teenage boys, priests with muskets, women carrying powder and throwing boiling tar from the walls. For weeks, the army of the Ottoman Empire believed this would be routine. Another fortress, another victory, another Christian city added to the map. This is Eger. Hungary is being eaten alive. The central part of the kingdom is already under Ottoman control. Castles that once guarded the frontier now fly the Sultan's banner. Village after village is emptied, its people driven off or taxed into ruin. To the east, Transylvania struggles to survive. To the west, what remains of Royal Hungary leans on Habsburg support. And in the middle of this broken land stands a fortress on a hill, Eger. If Eger falls, northern Hungary opens. The road toward the heart of Europe becomes easier. Other castles, smaller, weaker, already afraid, will see surrender as the only option. The Ottoman High Command understands this. So in the autumn of 1552, they send an army to erase Eger from the map. Not a raiding force. An army. Tens of thousands of soldiers arrive. Janissaries, Sipahis, artillery, engineers, veterans of previous conquests. They expect the walls to fall in days. Inside the fortress, there are barely 2,000 defenders. They know the numbers. They know no relief army is coming, and they choose to stand anyway. The Ottoman force marching toward Eger is enormous. Columns of men, horses, and wagons stretch across the plain. With them comes everything needed to break a fortress. Elite infantry trained for assault, cavalry that has crushed armies in the open field, engineers who know how to undermine walls and build siege machines, and heavy cannons dragged across Hungary for one purpose only: to bring Eger down stone by stone. By the time the Ottomans finish making camp, the fields below the walls look like another city. Thousands of tents, endless campfires, drums beating through the night, orders shouted in many languages across the plain. From the ramparts, the Hungarians watch in silence. They count the cannons. They watch siege towers being built in plain sight. They understand what is coming. Outside the walls stand between 30 and 40,000 attackers. Inside the fortress are barely 2,000 defenders. They know there are not enough men. They know there is not enough food. They know that no relief army is marching to save them. Command of the fortress rests with István Dobó. He is calm, direct, and unshaken. He does not promise survival. He promises only this: Eger will not surrender. The defenders understand. The choice is simple: stand or fall. And still, nobody leaves. They choose to fight. Inside Eger, the world changes overnight. The chatter of markets disappears. Laughter disappears. Only the sounds of work remain. Hammers striking wood, stones being dragged, cannons being moved into position. Every street leads toward the walls, because everyone understands that everything will soon be decided there. Fear is everywhere, but it is quiet fear. People do not scream. They do not panic. They work. Mothers hold their children tighter, knowing the truth no one wants to say aloud. If the fortress falls, there will be no mercy. They have heard what happened in other towns. They know what defeat has meant elsewhere. Many look at their sons and understand that the boys standing beside them today may not live to see winter. Fathers sharpen blades in silence. Young men force their hands not to shake. There are only about 2,000 defenders, not an army, a town, farmers who have never marched in formation, craftsmen whose hands were made for tools, not weapons, students, priests, boys who still look like boys, and women who refuse to stay inside when the fighting starts. The women of Eger do everything. They carry ammunition to the walls. They tear cloth into bandages. They drag the wounded from the battlements even while cannonballs crash around them. Many will pick up weapons themselves when the enemy reaches the parapets. They know exactly what will happen to them if the gates fall, and that knowledge hardens them more than armor could. At the center stands Istvan Dobo. He looks every defender in the eye. He does not promise safety. He does not pretend rescue is coming. He tells them the simple truth. The army outside is enormous. The odds are terrible. If Eger falls, northern Hungary opens and more cities will fall with it. An oath is sworn. They will not open the gates. They will not surrender. They will hold Eger as long as they live. Everyone understands what those words really mean. Most of them will die here, and still, not one person leaves. The siege begins with sound, not with ladders, not with men on the walls, with noise. At dawn, the first Ottoman cannons open fire. The boom rolls across the plain and slams into the stone of Eger. Dust falls from ceilings. Windows rattle. Children cry. No one pretends anymore that this might be a short siege. The cannons do not fire once and fall silent. They fire again, and again, and again. All day, all night. The walls shake until people feel the vibration in their chest. Sleep becomes a memory. Even when the guns stop, the defenders still hear them in their heads. Great chunks of stone are blasted out of the ramparts. Stairways collapse. Towers split. Smoke hangs over the town. The air smells of sulfur, burned wood, and dust. Then the assaults begin. Ottoman drums beat. War cries rise from thousands of throats. Waves of troops move forward with ladders and shields. Pushing through their own dead and wounded, the defenders meet them at the walls. Muskets roar at close range. Cannons loaded with scraps of iron tear into the attackers climbing the ladders. Boiling tar, stones, and burning pitch are thrown down on men trying to force their way up. The fighting is so close that people can see each other's faces through the smoke. Fear is everywhere, but something else stands with it. Stubbornness. Women run along the walls with buckets of water for fires. Priests carry the wounded away while cannonballs crash nearby, blessing men who know they have only minutes left to live. The first assaults are repelled, but no one cheers. Everyone understands what this means. The Ottomans have seen the walls. They have tested the defences. They will come back with more guns, more ladders, more men, again and again, until the stones fall, or the defenders do. Day after day, the bombardment continues. Cracks spread through the fortress like veins. Houses are smashed. The church roof collapses. Every morning, people wake up surprised they are still alive, and every night they go to sleep, knowing the next day may be their last. For about 5 weeks, Eger lived under almost constant cannon fire. Day and night, the Ottomans kept their guns working. Smaller attacks were launched again and again, not to capture the fortress yet, but to see how the defenders reacted and where the weak points might be. Every day brought more wounded, less food, and more damage to the walls. During this time, Istvan Dabo and his officers worked without rest. They moved men to threatened areas, repaired cracks in the defences as best they could, and tried to hold the garrison together as fear and exhaustion grew. Many parts of the fortress were already badly damaged, and everyone knew that when the main assault finally came, it would hit there first. The Ottomans had a clear plan. They wanted to smash holes in the walls with their heavy guns, then send large numbers of infantry straight through those gaps before the defenders could recover. Most of their fire was aimed at the southern side of the fortress and at towers already weakened by earlier bombardment, which they believed were the easiest places to break through. When the moment came, the elite Janissaries were expected to lead the way and finish the fight inside the walls. Now, after weeks of constant pressure, that final attack was ready to begin. It happens before dawn. The sky is still dark when the cannons start again, louder than before, closer than before. The ground shakes as if the earth itself is being hit. Stones tear loose from the ramparts. Entire sections of wall begin to crumble. Then the drums begin. They do not beat fast. They beat slow, heavy, relentless. Every strike tells the defenders the same message. They are coming. Out of the smoke, the Ottoman army moves forward in waves. Torches burn across the plain like a moving line of fire. Siege ladders rise. Assault ramps are dragged into place. The shouting grows until it sounds like the air itself is screaming. This is not a probing attack anymore. This is the attempt to end Eger. The first wave hits the broken sections of the wall. Thousands of attackers rush forward at once. Ladders slam against stone. Men climb over each other to reach the top. Arrows and musket shots fill the air. Steel slams against steel. The battle is suddenly face to face. The defenders fight until their hands slip on their own blood. Muskets fire so close that powder burns skin. Cannons are loaded with nails, stones, broken iron, anything that can kill, and fired straight down into the masses below. The blast throws bodies back into the men behind them, but still they come. On the ramparts, there is no space, no distance, only individuals locked together. A defender swings once, twice, then is dragged down, disappearing under a flood of enemy soldiers. Another takes his place, then another. A breach opens. Ottoman troops break through part of the outer wall. For a moment, it looks like the fortress is lost. Commanders shout. Bells ring in panic. Civilians run toward the inner defences, carrying children in their arms, knowing that if the line breaks here, there will be nowhere left to go. The defenders throw everything into the gap. Barrels filled with burning pitch are rolled downhill and explode into sheets of fire. Men are set ablaze, and still keep running forward for several steps before they fall. Stones are pushed from the walls. The impact crushes ladders and the men on them. And still, the assault continues. Hours pass, but it does not feel like hours. It feels like one long moment made of noise and pain and smoke. Throats are raw from shouting. Arms barely lift weapons anymore. Faces are covered in powder and ash so completely that people hardly look human. Fear is everywhere, and yet nobody retreats. Women carry powder to the guns through falling debris. Some take the places of their husbands and sons on the walls without hesitation. They throw rocks, they swing axes. They fight because they understand exactly what happens if the fortress falls. In the chaos stands Istvan Dobo. He moves along the ramparts where the fighting is thickest, shouting orders, steadying broken lines, dragging men back to their feet. He bleeds from cuts on his face, but does not leave the wall. His presence says more than any speech. We are still here. The Ottomans launch one last massive push. Every drum, every voice, every cannon fires at once. The sound is overwhelming. The defenders are pushed back step by step. For a moment, the enemy flag rises over part of the wall. It does not stay there. The defenders surge one final time, a burst of strength born from the simple refusal to die on their knees. They drive the attackers back off the rampart. Ladders are thrown down. Men who fought all night collapse where they stand because they no longer have the strength to walk. When the smoke thins, the plain below the fortress is covered with bodies. The attack has failed. The 2,000 Hungarians have fought away 30,000 Ottomans. After the last attempt failed, the Ottomans retreated. Eger has saved Hungary and Europe